Hello everyone, this is Jim Lewis at Model Train Technology. This video is about the speed stick. This is a how-to video and troubleshooting, although it's really pretty simple, but there's a few little nuances we want to share with you. So let's get right to it. The speed sticks comes with some holes to insert the feet. You will need even an N scale and probably an Z scale to raise it up off the ground because the roadbed can be seen by the sensors. So that's the first mistake. I had a number of calls where they put it down just like this and it doesn't work. It just keeps the setting. So we'll just turn it on here. I'll show you a close-up. This is in a minute, but it goes through, it shows you the version number, what the battery level is and the scale that it's in, and then it's ready to go. I'm just going to put the feet on here. If they're loose, one of the techniques you can use is to put a drop of super glue on it and wipe it on and let it dry. Don't put it in there because you'll never get it off, of course. And the super glue is just firm enough and just thick enough to add a little friction to the feet. Now, if you need to raise it up, of course, we include these spacers. You can use them together or separately. So those are included in the kit, along with the 5-volt charger and the cable. And as we've mentioned in the newsletter and a few other places, we've adopted the USB-C plug, and any 5-volt charger that you have, even your iPhone charger, will work. And it will go into the plug in either direction. So you don't have to worry about an upside down or right side up. It'll just plug in and charge. Your speed stick will come with somewhere about 80%, maybe a little bit more charged. And the best thing to do is to just charge it up right from the get-go. There is a manual. Of course, nobody reads the manual, but we hope that you will. And on the back page, on one of the latter pages, this is on page 12, there's a reference to all of the settings. There are 11 scales built in. So instead of making a separate product for Europe, we included the 5 European scales from the get-go. And then 3 major capabilities: straight miles per hour or kilometers per hour, millisecond timing, and loop timing. And we're going to show you all of those in just a second. I do have my N scale loop here. We showed that at the beginning, and I have my lighted cars, and we'll have that run through, and that will be the trigger for the speed stick. So let's set that up and take a closer view. Okay, after you take your speed stick out of the box and connect the feet, we'll turn the power on, and it will go very quickly. I'll do this a couple of times, about 1 second or 1.5 seconds through the logo, the confirmation of the sensors, the version number, and the battery, and then it'll be ready to run. It goes through pretty quickly, and you can see that right here. Okay, so battery 100%, it's an HO scale and ready to go. So it's an HO scale because this is mostly in the US market, and HO is the most prevalent scale, so that's the default. Let me point out a couple of things here. When I don't have anything on the table behind this for about 6 inches or so, so make sure this area behind is clear when you're setting this up. Otherwise, you'll get false readings. The other thing I want to point out is this blue LED on the left. This will be the green LED on the right. The blue LED will blink 4 times right after the logo to indicate that the sensors and the circuitry, everything inside has connected, is booted up, and the sensors are talking to each other and talking to the CPU, and it's ready to go. So here you see it, the 4 blinks of the blue light, the version number, battery, and HO scale, and now it says ready. So it's ready to go. So you can just run your hand behind it, and the blue light will come on. It will indicate it understands the direction it's going in, and it's tripped on the second sensor. Now, as long as there's something behind or in front of the sensors on this side, the blue light will not go off completely. So when it's triggered, it turns bright. When the second sensor is touched, it will go dim, but only after a couple of seconds after you release will it be ready for another trigger. And the reason for that is that when we were, well, a couple of reasons, we anticipated this, but when we set this up first and ran our N scale train through it, the sensors were so fast that it could tell and detect the spacing between the cars, and therefore it thought it was a new speed setting. So what we do is we make sure that both sensors are deactivated. In other words, train has gone by, and then we look for that. So let me do it one more time from this side, and I'm going to put my hand here, and you can see the blue light. It's recorded that speed, but if I were to make my hand go up and down like this, as if the cars are going by, it's not going to release the sensor until the train has completely exited, and then a couple of seconds later, it will be ready for a new setting. Sorry, a new reading. The next thing I want to point out is how to use the select button here. So there's a chart. Let's see if I can get that all in. This is on page 12 of your manual. On the top of the page, you can see number 1 is miles per hour or kilometers. That's mode 1. Mode 2 is millisecond mode, and mode 3 is loop mode. And all the rest of them are just the scales. So if you wanted, as I mentioned, we started out in HO scale, but if you wanted to record Z or N scale, you'll push the button 4 or 5 times accordingly. We're going to start at the top here, and we're going to talk about switching between miles per hour and kilometers being one of the simplest ones. So anytime you want to use the speed stick option or change the speed stick option, you need to push the button once. And that indicates and starts the select process. So don't include that as one of the button press counts. You have to be in select mode. Now, 1 switches back and forth, 1 button press switches back and forth between miles per hour and kilometer. So we were on miles per hour. Oh, and it went back to ready. If you don't push the button after about 20 or 30 seconds, it'll just go back. So we just push it again, and I'm going to press it once. See the blue light blink, and now it's in kilometers per hour, and our reading will read out in kilometers per hour. Okay, so I'm going to press this again. It's in select mode. I'm going to press once more, and it will go back to miles per hour. Now, one of the curious things is when I first invented this, I had the push button on the right-hand side, but if you grab the speed stick, your other finger, the thing that you're going to try to hold it with, will be in front of the sensor. So we put this button in the middle, so you can actually hold it like this and press the button and not impact the sensors back here. So you can press and press once, it'll go back to kilometers per hour. We can press it again and go back to miles per hour. There we go. And I can put it down, and I haven't triggered. Now this will be put in front of the track, just like this. And as the train goes by, you'll see the settings. So let's run the train once or twice through, and just so you can see how that's going to go. I have my beautiful Southern Pacific passenger train, and this is going to trip from the right side and the left side. And the lighting inside these cars is our flagship product, our lighting boards for N scale and HO and other scales. All right, so that's the way that goes. And we'll just let the train run around a few times to see how that works. And we'll do it one more time. Now it gets ready. If it's going too slow, it will let you know. It'll say too slow. So there is a mode, or too fast. Okay, so that's the basic setup for miles per hour on your layout. And remember, I haven't changed the auto ranging yet. So if you run your hand way back here behind the speed stick, or if you have scenery back there, you're going to run into trouble. Okay, so why don't we set the auto ranging right now? Let me stop the train. Let me back it up a little bit. Okay, and I'll show you, just park the train right in front of the speed stick. Okay, and there we go. Okay, you can use a sponge, you can use a piece of wood, it really doesn't matter. Okay, now what you want to do is figure out about how far the final distance that you want for the train between the speed stick and the train. All right, probably not right up against it, maybe back a little bit. Okay, just back it up maybe an inch or so. And the way to, now what we want to do is set the range so that the speed stick only senses the distance from it to the side of the car and maybe in a little bit, so that when we're done with this, if I rub my hand back here, the speed stick won't react. And so that, like again, if you have buildings or sceneries or anything back there, we want to avoid that. All right, so same kind of procedure. We're going to I'm going to pick it up and push select, and then I'm going to hold. Can you see that? Yeah, I'm going to hold the select button, and the blue light went out, and it's going to come back on after about 4 or 5 seconds, and it says set range. Okay, so I'm going to adjust it to about there, and you see the blue light is blinking. That's telling me, okay, get ready. We're going to do auto ranging, and the fast blinks are it's set that range. Okay, now since there's a car in front of it, it immediately detected that. Now what I like to do is just move it in a little bit further from that, and now we'll turn the train back on. Oops, backwards. Let's get going the right way. Okay. And I'm going to crank up the speed a little bit here to shorten the video. And the train is coming around. Let me see if I can back up a little bit. And there you go. And now when the train goes by, we'll wait for the clearance. The light will go out. And now if I put my hand back here, you can see that it's not triggering as it did before. So it'll only trigger the train on the first track. So that's what auto ranging does for you. Now, after auto ranging, there are a couple of circumstances where it acts a little funny based on what it's seeing. The auto range is rather complicated. And so all you can do, it's already saved the setting. So just turn the speed stick off and turn it back on, and then adjust it, the distance that works best for you. And everything else will work fine. So that's the auto ranging for the speed stick, and that's that part. Okay. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, let me get this out. The next thing I want to show you is how to use the millisecond mode. And a millisecond is 1,000th of a second. And so the internal sensors are actually measuring the time it takes to go 180 millimeters, that's the distance between the sensors, in milliseconds, okay? So put it in millisecond mode, we put it into select, and then we're going to press the button twice, and now we're in millisecond mode, and we'll put that in front of the train, and you'll see now that the reading will be in milliseconds. So it's 890 milliseconds, so less than 1 second. So 1 second would be 1,000. And this is pretty accurate. This is the most accurate, the next level of accuracy. The number will go up and down maybe 10 or up to 100 hundredth of a millisecond, which is very small. And so if you're trying to manage consists and adjust the speed, this is a pretty good way to do it. All right, and so let's slow the train down just a bit here. So you can see that the millisecond range, let's go really slow. Train is coming along. Here it comes right about now. And you can see, okay, it took 2.4 seconds. So just to give you an idea, so 2,490 is 2.49 seconds. All right. So, and on our website are 2 calculators. If you want to do milliseconds and you want to calculate different ranges and do some testing, we built some widgets on the website. They're under the technical section. It says speed stick calculator. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to speed this up a little bit more. Quite a bit more. You can see, so it only took a second that time to go through the stage. The next option is to put it into loop mode, and loop mode is 3 presses, 1, 2, 3. And it will tell you, okay, now it's in loop mode. And what loop mode will do is time in minutes and seconds how long it takes to go an entire loop around in a circle. However big your layout is from beginning to end, it will now start a timer, and it will, as soon as the speed stick is clear, it will show you that it started clocking the time here, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, and the train will hit the sensor again. It freezes the time, 15 seconds, and then a few seconds after the train's passed, it will go back, and it will go back live, and the time is when it started here. So it's simultaneously recording the stop time and the start time. And you can see that it's maybe 8 or 10 fractions of a second. Those are hundredths of a second, so it's pretty accurate. And this is a good way if you have 2 trains and you want to see their relative speeds, this is the most accurate way. And the reason is there's a lot of electromechanical things going on that will affect the speed, particularly over the short distance. So the train is pulling train cars. The motor gets hot and cold as it goes around. There's different kinds of friction as it makes the curve. And it's not always exactly the same. And of course, the speed safe is incredibly precise. So you will see variations of that speed. Okay. All right. So now let's show you how to change scales. I'm going to show you how to change scales. It's in it's been in I think it's been in HO scale this whole time. So the miles per hour is a little bit off, but it's still in loop mode. So let's press select. Now it's ready. And any of the other two options, if you put it in miles per hour or milliseconds mode, we'll just press it once. That will automatically take it out to loop mode, and now it's in miles per hour again. All right. This concept to change the scale is nearly identical. So let's turn it off and back on. Let's confirm that it was in HO mode, HO scale, which I believe was the default setting. Right. So we want to put it in N scale. N scale on the chart is 5 pushes. So we first get it into select mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it will tell us that it's in N scale mode 160. And it's ready to go. So if we went through the train speed now, probably show faster speed. Yeah, it does than what we were indicating before. All right, so other scales on here, if we wanted to go to O scale, Lionel scale, we'd probably want to put the short spacers in. Depending on how your layout is set up, you might need the long spacer. That's fine. To put it into O scale mode, that's 8 presses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're in O scale. All right. So that's as easy as it is to operate. Now, if you get confused, maybe the sensor isn't doing really what you want. If you want to reset the unit, it's very simple. So we'll turn the power off. Okay. Hold the button and turn the power on. And keep your finger on the button until you see the word reset. And then let go, and it will reset, and then go through its normal startup phase, and it's ready to go as HO. Now, like I said, it resets to HO, so for our setup here, oh, no problem, we'll just go, and we'll select, and we'll go to N scale. I think that was 5 pushes, right? And there we are back into N scale. Okay, so that's it. The manual, the most recent manual, the current manual is 1.4a. It's on the website under the technical section on our website. Just below that are some troubleshooting tips. There's only a few of them, and we'll add to that as people have questions and issues come up. But it's pretty straightforward, and you should have a lot of fun with that. So thank you very much.